Okay, my name is Vanessa Thornton Gandy. We are at Stratford Hall in Stratford, Virginia. Today is Saturday, the 22nd of July. I am originally from Atlantic City, New Jersey, born and raised, but I love to tell everybody that I'm a little bit country, I'm a little bit rock and roll. So the reason I say that is because even though I was born in Atlantic City, New Jersey, we spent a great deal of our summers growing up on our grandparents' farm in Alta Vista, Virginia. And our relation to this plantation comes from our mother's side of the family and from her mother's side of the family.
My name is Linda Renee Johns, Ashford, my married name. I was born in Roanoke, Virginia, and my mother, Dolores Johns, was the second born of 10 children. And she's still alive. She's 89, will be 89 this year. And she comes from the Lee family as well, her mother's parents. And then from there, it was an uncle, and then eventually they were from this descendants of enslaved people on this Stratford Hall Plantation. It all started with an interview that Dr. Kelly Dietz had. She had a forum in Salem, Virginia, and there was a Zoom call. And one of my cousins got on that Zoom call, and we heard about Stratford, and we heard that we have some descendants that were from here. So that interests me, and we came to the first African Day a couple of years ago.
So at the time, I didn't make the first Africans Day. At the time, my aunt Dee, her mom, was one of the people who were there, and her brother picked up actually the mantle as the family historian. He was that before we even found out about Stratford, and through conversations with our grandfather, who lived to be 100 years old, and he was sharp as a tack right up until the day he died.
And his name was?
William Everett Yule.
Yuille. And he married, he passed just
It's been a minute.
about less than 5 years, or right at 5.
I thought it was more than that.
A little thing more.
I think it was a little more than that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when he passed away. Our cousin was able to trace that side of the family to Scotland, but the side for this side of the family came through our grandmother's side. So that came through Helen Dabney, our grandmother's name. So I should say my grandmother's name was Helen Ruth Dabney, because my mother's name is Helen Ruth. So she passed her name down to my mom. But that's the line that we follow. And her brother, Lawrence Johns, is the family historian, and he was able to make that connection for us to come from Stratford Hall. That was kind of a huge thing. It was really big, and we're like, wow, okay, if you say so. But the more we come and the more we come out here, I wish I could have made First Africans Day. I forgot what we were doing at the time, but we've come ever since. And today, I was actually able to bring our oldest son and his wife. So this is their first time, and they're really wow, we need to come again. So what we're trying to do, and what we have done so far, is we are, what generation? Third generation?
Mm-hmm.
So we are third generation, and we're incorporating our children. We're trying to get them to come out here and take a look. Hey, know where you come from. That way you know where you're going.
And we learn something every time we come here. We just went to the library and found out a lot of the artifacts that were shown to us as our family descendants. So we were grateful for that and can feel the connection of our ancestors.
Didn't really hear much until our cousin made that connection, and then we started getting deeper and deeper into Stratford Hall and our connection to Stratford Hall. Now, as far as the library is concerned, the Articles of Surrender, whoa, that was a big one too. And another big thing was actually that indentured servants contract. I've never seen anything that's like that big. I'm like, could people just not read? It was huge, but it was amazing. Some of the architecture, they had a book on architecture, and that was like, my son said, what's the first pop-up book? Because you flip it over and you can see what the picture looked like before and after. The first time that I did come here, we did do the Great House. I was amazed at how short the beds were. I thought they would be a little bigger, but apparently height wasn't a thing back then. Um, I also liked that the way the layout was, the way the kitchen, the way they cooked. We came back, was it February? I think it was, when they did a demonstration. They did chocolate cook off and stuff. Man, that smoked oyster. Woo! That was, I'm sorry, I'm getting beside
What is
myself. That
amazing
was so
about the
good.
Great House is from everything pointed to who was there, who built it, who
Mm-hmm.
made the clothing, the food, the crops,
The
the
architecture was amazing.
bricks. The bricks that were formulated there, they put their own touch in it, and you can see it glisten, some of it, in the sun during sunset, I believe. But that came from our ancestors too,
They
to
sure
know
did.
that they made those special bricks
Out of crushed shell in
in the
the
bricks.
bricks, so that
Hmm.
they did glisten when the sun hit it a certain way.
Hmm. And the artifacts that we saw that's in the museum at the visitor center was just truly amazing to see all the bracelets, the beads, the hair clippings, and these were pieces from our ancestors, I suppose. And fascinating, fascinating.
The talent was truly amazing.
Hmm.
Um, in the great house, I was stunned, for lack of a better word. If you look up at the ceiling and the way they did like the cornice and all that, and those, it's like everything was like perfect. The spaces were like perfect. I'm looking at this going, wow. And we use molds and stuff and plaster now, and this stuff was cut by hand. That that was like a big wow. That really was a big wow.
And that hot kitchen, that big open kitchen
Furnace.
that the cook, and then they brought all the food to the big house. So I can't imagine someone 8 hours a day or however long they cook breakfast, lunch, dinner there, and
In the hot summer.
in the hot summer, no microwaves. It just didn't exist. But they got through it, and it's amazing how they did that.
I just think the talent is. I mean, when we talked with Kelly, and she pretty much brought forward that everything pretty much was done by the slaves, and the talent that they brought with them when they were captured and brought over to this country. It was truly amazing to see that, hey, we grew up with one perception as kids. We grew up with one perception, and then to find out that our perception was totally wrong, and that there was more to the story than we were taught as children. And now it's coming here and seeing all of this, and actually seeing the architecture, the fields,
Hmm.
the furniture, the bedding, everything was like, wow, this is not what we were, not what we thought, not what we expected. The one thing that did get me, and that Linda, she kind of got close to it, and I was waiting, the runes, the runes.
The rooms.
The runes, runes, the runes, the little carvings and stuff that they
Oh
have,
yes,
the
yes.
rune stones, what was put into the walls, the carvings on the floor, that they brought that their religion with them, and
Yes.
through it all, they were still able to leave their mark. Whether they knew what the mark was at the time, the slaves knew what the mark was, and they were able to leave a mark that said, hey, we were here.
And this is my third time here in the first Africans Day, and the ceremony I appreciated so much at the cemetery, and they explained to the people that attended who the ancestors was. They gave permission to talk, so we did that. We heard the drums, and she gave us that history, and I appreciated that. And then the raft that was built, and all the ornaments put on there, and we brought it out to sea. And that really touched me. And in that ceremony, the closing ceremony of First Africans Day, really made me connect to my ancestors. And I'm getting emotional on here, but there is the rocks there. And I said, some people didn't make it. Some would just try to swim out to Maryland, because that's the next connecting waters, just land from that river. And I said some just didn't make it to try to escape from where they were, their position. And so I took a rock, I took a little pebble from the beach, And when I'm having a hard day, I just rub that rock. And I said, you know, our ancestors did this, and I can do this day. I can survive. Sorry, I'm so emotional.
It's okay.
But you know, it's touching me. It's really touching me that it really happened. And here we are today,
where we are because it happened.
where we are, and we should not complain at all.
It's amazing, and every time we come, we learn something new.
We sure do.
So, and then it's more oohs and it's more eyes. I think it's awesome.
I think it's like a secret, and I want that secret to get out to everybody. And I wanted this whole place on this day to be filled with people, elbow to elbow, to learn. It's so much. It doesn't have to be people of color coming here. It could be everybody, whoever walks on this earth, to know that there's some history. And I hated history growing up, but now I'm so fascinated by it.
Especially your history.
In my history. Wow, this is us. This is me. We did this. They built that.
Wow.
They made these clothes. They fixed this food. On and on. Awesome, awesome, awesome. That it's not just a microwave thing these days. It's just like
they actually did
back in the day, you know, before the microwave, the TVs, and freedom.
Yeah.
That they were amazing. And I want everybody to know that.
They persevered and they did not give up. And we think we got it hard. I think what we do today is a cakewalk compared to what they were going through.
Yes.
So
it makes us proud to come back all the time to a place like that. There are mixed feelings. I mean, there are some relatives that I don't know about that. I think they might trap us and we never come back again. They say that, and I said, I don't feel that. I feel the love that they want to rectify things and help to bring on the true story, the truth. That's what I want to happen.
We want them to know that the myth of slaves is a myth, that they were some of the hardest working people, and that if we know that and we see that, then again, the stigma of that, you know, laziness and all that stuff will go away. And then we have something, we really truly have something to be proud of. I'm not happy that, you know, that it went down the way it did, but had it not, I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be able to do the things that I can do. So with that being said, hopefully, prayerfully, that progress will continue. But people who do not know their history are doomed to repeat it.
I think what I wrote, one of my first or second experiences here, was the senses. What I saw, smelled, tasted, touched, and what's the other one? Fifth sense. Heard. The hearing. You know, there's some horses around here still that they have raised. So you hear it in the trees, touch, smell, everything. You use all your senses when you get to this place. And whether it's now or you can imagine going back in time. And the river takes me to just a peaceful place now. But, and we had that closing ceremony too. And all the names of our ancestors were called to the beat of the drum. And that touched me too. So it's that connection. I love it.
Well, the first time I got here, I didn't know what to expect. Okay, so I felt like I was here, trying to see everything all at one time. It's like, hey, we might not come back, you know? You don't really know. You come in and, oh, okay, your ancestors were slaves at Stratford Hall. So it's like, okay, what am I walking into? And what exactly am I going to hear? Is this going to be some negative energy, some positive energy? You don't know what to expect. So I was very surprised pleasantly. And I thought it was awesome hearing the things that we were hearing, because they glorified the slave population and they exemplified all the positive energy and everything that they've done that we, like I said, we were never told that. We were always told something different. So I'm like, oh, okay, so it's not all about they're a slave and here to change and this and that and other. Because that's the first thing you're going to think. So I said, okay, well, I guess I'll come back, because, you know, this is now it's making me feel better about, you know, where our ancestors came from. The second time I came back, they were doing a cook-off. It wasn't that many people there, and that was really nice. And again, the third time, I said, all right, Paul, get in the car. So I wanted my son. He's the oldest of our five. We have five children. He's the oldest of the five. And I wanted him. I figure if I can get if I can get one of them to come, then he can convince the others. And so getting him here, and he's like, wow, wow, wow. And because again, he had the same perception I had when I first got here. What are we going to talk about? It's just going to be about the slaves and they did this and they did that. So when he got there and he got here and he's realizing it's more than what he thinks and it's more than what I thought. So I'm really glad I came. I'm glad I came back. We were invited back if we want to come and help do some cataloging and stuff, which I really truly want to do. Mm-hmm. I can't wait to get down and start really finding stuff out. And the things that we're finding out, some of the stuff is really is so interesting. Some of it's out of a spy novel. I mean, this is wow, there's really stories here, that you wouldn't think. So for somebody who has never been to Stratford Hall, even if you are not a descendant of anybody from Stratford Hall, there is more to Stratford Hall than you think. It's more than just the buildings. It's just the history of the family itself, of the people who were here that is still being told. It's not even out there. It's still being told. So every time we come back, it's I learn something new every time I come back.
My niece decided to come here for the second or maybe been the third time, but she came just a couple of weeks ago for solitude, all by herself.
Wow.
And she just stayed. I said, what did you do? I just sat, I read, I walked. So it was her peace of mind. And we thought that, oh, it's so dark out here because there's no traffic lights.
Perfect.
But she enjoyed it, and she's here back again today. So something she's getting out of it. I hope that you interview her. But I'm here, and I don't want to say this is home. I mean, this was my home back in the day, even before I was born, but it just is a peace. It brings a little peace to me from the first time to the third time I'm here. And I appreciate it. That's what I get out of it.